I would say now I try as hard as I can to make that impact for the girls. And when I was always in like basketball at college, my coach would always say like, it's bigger, like there's other things bigger than the game. Like this will teach you life lessons of being responsible, like things, communicating with me. Like I've tried to teach them more life lessons than just like the simple game of basketball. And that's how I kind of switched it, because that's what I was taught and told up at Mayville. And so I want to transition that to Buffalo basketball and try and teach them more of like life skills. Like this is it. This game is going to prepare you so much than winning and losing, or knowing how to shoot and drive to the basket, kind of things like that. So like that's the lens I'm looking at it too, is like I want to have them
transformation.
Hi, I'm Steven Racek, one of the owners and coaches here at Forge Fitness. A lot of people ask, what do we do here? Well, we focus on your longevity, meaning we focus on your health and the quality of your life as you age. So by the time you get to the end of your life, we want you to be able to do things that you want to do and enjoy. We take a lot of pride in the community that we've built, knowing that our members come for a great workout, but they stick around because of the community and friendships that they have. If interested in joining us at Forge, we offer a 7-day free trial. And you can find us at www.forgefitness.co, or you can find us on Facebook or Instagram.
Okay, hey everybody, welcome back. Another great episode of the Buffalo Community Podcast. Have with us today Jordan Zrust, 2019 Buffalo High School graduate, 2024 graduate of Mayville State. Set all kinds of records there. I'm guessing probably a few records here at Buffalo High School. I don't know that for sure. We can get into that. But this has been in the works here for a few months, and we got you in here.
Yeah.
Over prep.
Yes, over prep. I'm so excited to be here.
During the basketball season.
Yes, during the basketball season with a game tonight, so it's fine.
Right. Okay. We'll make it quick. So, also a Phi Ed teacher at Tatanka Elementary.
Yes.
So, come back home.
Yes, I knew I wanted to come back home wherever I went for college. Like I knew in high school, I was like, yes, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do, is teach Phi Ed, because I had a ton of amazing Phi Ed teachers with me growing up through middle school and high school. And I was like, yes, like I want to be just like that for students, because they were so caring to me and developed those relationships. Is like, I want to do that for students. And so I knew exactly, like, I wasn't leaving. I want to be close to family. Like that was my main important thing, was to be close to family for sure. So
awesome. Yeah. So you graduate Buffalo, you have some options to play college basketball. How did you end up in Mayville State?
Yes.
I'm guessing that wasn't your only opportunity. What brought you there? And
yeah, so I had a good phone call, like conversation with the coach, Dennis Hutter. And he saw me play when I was a freshman at some showcase. So he had his eyes on me for a while. And I was talking to him, and he seemed like a great coach, really cared more about not athletics, but like education and my personal life more than athletics. So he was very open and honest to that, and was like, hey, like this is an opportunity for you, but like your athletics isn't first, kind of thing. And I really liked that. And when I went up to tour there, all the classrooms were so, like the classroom teacher ratio was like 13-1. So it's a very small college. Wow. Yeah. Very small college. And their number one like major would be education. So I was like, okay, yes, I know I want to get into education. So that's a plus for me. And the class size, like I love the small class size just because I can interact with the environment way better than a large like auditorium size class, I would say. But yeah, and so when I was talking to him, he just like, I saw the team practice too, and he was just talking, and it just seemed like such a close-knit family team. And I loved that. Like there was nothing like this player does this, like nothing standout-ish. It was more like family, like this is a team, like, and that's something like I strived for. So I was like, yes, like, and I loved it there. It was so small, like the community was so involved with their athletics, I noticed, when going to a game too before. So that was also really nice to see, and it reminded me of Buffalo too, just like how involved the community is with sports, high school sports.
So what you saw is exactly what you got.
Yes, 100%, I would say, yes, 100%.
Cool.
So you come home and get your job, Tatanka, on blast, but it's a public teacher position.
Yes.
So, but you also coach the varsity girls basketball program.
Yeah.
So did you know you wanted to coach? Did you know you just want to be some type involved, transition from player to coach?
I knew I wanted to coach because I knew I still wanted to stay in touch with the game. Like, not playing anymore was super hard because I was like, I've played since junior Bison. So I know I wanted to stay in touch with basketball in some sort of way. And when the opportunity came, I was like, okay, like, it's exactly where I would want to coach, like back at my hometown, give all the girls a experience that, or try to give them the experience that I had, which it was awesome. Like, I loved it, had a great team, great coaches. So as soon as that opened, I was like, yeah, like, that's something I would love to continue to do. So I applied for it, and then here I am.
Here you are on the Buffalo Community Podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't peak too early.
Right.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So not everybody gets an opportunity to step into a varsity head coaching role immediately out of college.
Right. And
right?
Yes, and I was like, okay, like, this is going to be big. Like, it's going to be different because I haven't coached before.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, how am I gonna, like, I have to think of things that I didn't think of. Like, I have to run a program that I have not done yet. So I was talking to Stacy Eggers a lot, as she was one of the coaches I had when I played and was the previous head coach the year before me. And we were kind of talking. She's like, yes, I would help you 100%. And so she's been awesome at that. She's been great. So she's helped me a lot, taught me a lot of things too. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a huge difference. And I didn't really know how much went into being a head coach. Mm-hmm. I was like, yeah, like coaching, obviously, but there's so much behind the scenes that I don't think a lot of people realize. Like, I didn't realize.
Like administrative stuff?
Yes, 100%. And just like thinking more about like the traveling programs, like,
right.
Hey, what about this? What about this? And I was like, I have never even thought about that. Like, I didn't think that was something I had to think of. So, like, there's different aspects for sure that I was, like, clueless about because I had no idea. But now that I'm experiencing it, I'm like, okay, like, it makes sense of what this, and this. But, yeah, it's a huge difference from being on the court and playing to now coaching and be like, yep, we're going to do this and this. Right. So it's definitely a learning experience, and I'm thankful that I have it, and I have such great supporters next to me to help. So it's been different, but it's different in a good way, for sure.
It's that top-down approach that is so necessary now, right? You can't just take the girls that kind of fall into your lap on the varsity level and coach them up, right? Yeah. It's you're the face and the coach of the girls basketball program. Yeah, and it's like they're in for college. You can recruit. So for high school, I'm just like, I'm thankful for everyone that I have, and I'm thankful for these girls that want to come out and play, like, because they have interest. And they, every single day, they're showing their heart, like, they're showing such good hard work, like, their effort, and it's, like, amazing. And I'm thankful to have that as my first year because, like, all these girls are working so hard. So it's like, okay. It's nice. It's not, like, something where you just pull and pull and pull. Like, definitely very, very thankful, for sure. Have them as my first.
I would imagine there's a big difference between competitive college athletes who are, studs in their field.
Yeah.
Want to be there. They're familiar with hard work to a 1 year step back. You have seniors in high school that's just like, okay, I'm here because, I just want to stay active.
I've always done it.
That one of those things. Yeah.
Is there some competitive edge that, long-term goal, program goals? Is it just kind of, where do you want to see the program in a couple of years? Yeah,
I would say it's definitely taking it year by year. Like, I'm such a competitive person, and I want to help instill that competitiveness. Like, when we do drills in game, like in practice, I try and make it competitive because, like, in a game, it's competitive, and practicing game like is very important, I feel like. But at the beginning, I was like, oh, why are they not doing this? Why are they not doing this? And I was like, you haven't taught them that yet. Right. Like, I had there was like a different where it's like, you have to realize that they're not just going to know it and expect it. Like, you have to teach them. And it's painfully obvious to you being a player. Yeah. Barely removed from the game. Yeah. And me, like, I was just so used to, like, that style. So I was like, yes, I want to put that with our style. And I was like, but why aren't you doing that? But I was like, Jordan, you didn't teach them that. Right. So it's like I have to, like, realize, hey, you have to teach them because they're not going to know, like, unless you actually tell them, because obviously they can't read my mind, and it's like you have to actually teach that. But I would say that's a big thing. But yeah, I just want to make sure my number one thing is that the girls enjoy it. but also staying competitive and making sure that like you have to work hard, you have to have great effort, attitude. I always tell them that like 2 things I don't coach is your effort and your attitude.
Right.
That's something that they can control, but I can help them with skills. I can help them with development. And that's what is very important to me, is if they're getting development they need and also having fun and enjoying it, because basketball is a long season. It is very long, and it's over the winter. I mean, sicknesses come and injuries obviously are prone to happen in every sport.
Dark all the time.
Dark so early,
Dark
cold,
when you go
freezing.
to school, when you go home.
Exactly. But yeah, no, I just try and make it as enjoyable as I can, but also like, hey, you got to work, you got to work, you got to work.
Well, and so much of the enjoyment, I think, comes from that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And I think when they see the enjoyment, they're like, yes, like this is fun. We love working hard. Like they've seen the enjoyment, they're like bought in. And so that's why I'm like, okay, I want them to be bought in, and that's with us like having fun, but also working hard. So when they're having fun, I feel like there's going to be more buy-in for sure. So yeah.
Yeah. And have you, you've been playing high-level basketball for the last 4 or 5 years. Is it hard? Can you just take like, hey, we ran this offense, we did this at Mayville, let's do that exact same thing here, right? Or do you have to like scale things to age-appropriate level? Is that a challenge in your role?
There are definitely some things, like there's some offensive plays, and I would just say like nothing would be different with that. There's just some timing issue. Like there's little things that can just obviously be tweaked, but for defensively, like we played a 2-3 zone the past 2 years up at Mayville, and so I'm trying to instill that, but it's like, okay, knowing high school basketball, like not even our team, this probably won't happen as much as it did when I saw it playing. So it's like I'm not going to prepare them for that as much as I would just for the basics of a 2-3 and like how we, like the basics of our zone back at Mayville. Like there's not much I focus on other than just like the basics, matching up here and there. Like it might be a little bit different than a regular 2-3, but just kind of like the fundamentals of it.
Sure.
There are just different things that like I try to prepare for, and maybe things that like we're not going to see, I'm not going to include it because it might just be so confusing too as well. So it's just like, as long as you guys know the basics of our 2-3 zone, we'll be fine. And then there's some things I tend to leave out just from what I've done, because I know it was confusing for me as an athlete, and so I just want to make it as less confusing, but still.
Yeah. Like in your brain, you're going, man, I wish we could do this because it would do, but we just don't have the ability. Or the mental capacity quite yet, or whatever. Yeah,
as soon as we start, like I like to start just like basic, and then once we understand that, then adding on. And it's not anything with the girls not knowing anything, it's just me saying like, yeah, we just got to stick to this. We're going to be good at this first before we
master it.
Yes, like mastering before we add on, like, because I just want to make sure that they know and understand, and then they can be like, and it has happened before, we're like, hey, what about this happens? I'm like, yes, like we'll do this without even me talking about it before. So like they notice a lot of things too, like they're very intelligent girls, and it's like, oh, we haven't even gotten there yet, but I'm glad you're pointing that out, kind of thing. So that happens frequently too.
Like if you can do the simple things really, really well, I promise you the rest of the stuff is way easier to pick up.
Yes, 100%.
But it might be boring to dribble.
Yes.
And be really good at passing. And you don't like all the boring things, but do the simple things really, really well. Yeah. And then you're just going to see leaps and bounds.
And I think that's overlooked a lot too, like the fundamentals. Like I remember going through dribbling drills, and it was the worst. Like I was like, why? Like, why are we doing it? But then I'm like, it is so important. Like, and now I'm looking at as it through different lens as a coach. And I'm like, I have to realize like this is so important. Like us being able to handle the ball while we're dribbling it is so important. Us being able to make the right reads with passes is so important. So like definitely I'd never try and take the fundamentals, like overlooking them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not something you do K through 6, right? And then forget about it.
You can't just stop. You have to. And, like, once you start with it, you can obviously build on to different.
Right.
Like, I think of, like, finishing moves. Like, yes, starting younger, you got to do your left hand and your right hand kind of thing. But it's like, okay, maybe we can add in, like, a Euro, step through, like, reverse. Like, just adding it on, starting with the basics, and then adding it on. Not like that. I'm saying, like, the high school girls at that level. But, like, just, like, kind of adding on once we mastering the simple skill.
Right. How has your role as a basketball coach and teacher helped you like transition away from like all of a sudden basketball's over? It's been your life. It's been Like what gets you, I'm making assumptions here, but.
You don't get into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame without
jersey,
having a huge, your jersey,
Yeah.
Without having a huge impact on your life.
So how has that helped? You know, you're still heavily involved in the game.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely different, and like I more look at it as what kind of impact can I make towards the girls. Like I want to obviously teach them as much as I can and try and share my knowledge with them. And when I do, like they share their knowledge back with me, and we have great conversations and we like build off things. But I would say now I try as hard as I can to make that impact for the girls. And when I was always in like basketball at college, my coach would always say like it's bigger, like there's other things bigger than the game. Like this will teach you life lessons of being responsible, like things, communicating with me. Like I'm trying to teach them more life lessons than just like the simple game of basketball. And that's how I kind of switch it, because that's what I was taught and told up at Mayville, and so I want to transition that to Buffalo basketball and try and teach them more of like life skills. Like this is it. This game is going to prepare you so much than winning and losing, or knowing how to shoot and drive to the basket, kind of things like that. Yep. So like that's the lens I'm looking at it too. Is like I want to have them
transformational.
Yes, be more prepared other than just like basketball. Like I want to teach them more lessons out of basketball than anything. Yeah. But yeah.
Tyler alluded to it, but you have a jersey hanging in the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame.
I do.
How do I get my jersey in there?
Yeah,
what do you got to do to?
Yeah, maybe 3 appearances to the national tournament. The rest will come. This accomplishments of your individual awards will come, but three visits to the national tournament. I would say team first.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
Yeah,
you say that cool. So confidently and so kind of like, well, yeah, it's kind of really good.
I always think of it like everyone's like, oh, that's so cool, and I'm just like, and it hasn't really set in yet. I'm just like, yeah, like it is cool, but it's not like that's very rare. Like I hasn't thought of it. I'm just like, yeah, that's pretty cool. And like I don't talk about it much. Like,
you just put the work in and it happened.
Yeah, like.
Right? Or did you say, I want my jersey there?
Yeah, I demanded it. Yeah. No. I definitely, there's always, and I'm learning now, there's always so much work that people don't see outside of the games, like even outside of practice kind of thing. And I was always told, like, work for what you want at growing up. And so that's just kind of led with me through high school and college basketball, and even like with work and stuff like that. Like you got to work for it. You got to earn it. It's not just going to happen or be served to you on a platter. Like you have to work for it. And that's also something I try and instill to the girls too. Like if you want to be a really good shooter, it's not just going to happen in practice or a game. Like you gotta do some work outside of that. So, but yeah, it's something I really don't talk about much. I mean, if someone brings it up, I'm like, and then I don't really like converse about it. I just don't. So, but yeah.
That's awesome. We can slide right off of it if you want. Well, outside of basketball, what do you like to do?
Yeah, I love spending time with my family. My family is so important to me. I try and visit my grandma all the time, just because she lives here. We got cousins that are all spread over across Minnesota. So as soon as I'm home, like I like to try and visit my family. I love spending time with my family playing cards. I'm big into card games. It's just something that I enjoy.
What's your favorite?
What is it? Rummy 500.
Yeah.
And then Trump, or where like you have that card in the middle, you got to play. I don't know. There's so many different words for everyone. 5 crowns, 5 kings. What are the 2?
5 crowns,
yeah. So just like little card games I enjoy. And just like quality, like spending time watching a movie, having a fire. We have a fireplace, like I don't want to say live or real one, but like you put the wood in, like it's not electric. So
like a real one.
Yeah, like
a real fireplace.
It felt weird saying like a live and real fireplace, but we'll all sit down there, watch like movies. We'll watch football, basketball games. We'll roast like hot dogs on the fire. Eat it. Like it's just like
in your basement.
Yes, right in the basement. So like that's something that I really love and enjoy, and I love going outside. I love being active. Like I love just going for walks, going to like work, like the little things that now I miss from being up at Mayville. Like I'm always used to like working out, lifting with basketball, and I'm like, oh, I got to do it on my own. I got to hold myself accountable.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So that's something I've been trying. But yeah, no, just spending time with family is like a huge thing. And me getting out and doing things too with them too.
Yeah. Well, your family has made a big impact in this community. Grandpa Bob gets the milkman business started.
Yes, he does.
Dad Brad
Dad's
takes it over.
Yeah.
Right? Coaching softball. You also played softball, correct?
Yes.
So Ted, University of Minnesota. Baseball. So athletics and Zrusts in the Buffalo community have been a staple here for a long time.
Yeah. No, when I am out, I would say when I would be at work at like the golf course, for example, they would see like Zrust on my namesake, and I'd be getting, so which Zrust do you belong to? What one do you belong to? I'm like, I don't even know who you are.
Right.
But
yeah.
I don't even know what that means, sir.
I was like, I'm Brad's daughter, and they'd be like, oh, I know Brad, and go on some story too. So it's really nice because there's so many people that have known a bunch of our different family members and then connect. And I can hear a bunch of the different stories that a lot of it's versus sports when my dad or my uncle was younger. So that's always kind of cool to hear like what they have to say and connections that they make and stuff.
Any real surprising ones that a stranger told you about your family that you had to go like, I gotta call my uncle.
I gotta confirm this.
No,
Yeah, I gotta confirm that.
No, just about like, I would say the most I get about is my dad and athletics and how like competitive and how much fun he was to play against just because he was so competitive and things like that. Or like grandpa, like any memory with my grandpa that they tell me of like, oh, he would deliver milk. He would give like my little kids like a little treat every single time. Like things like that. I'm like, yes, like that is definitely my grandpa. Like that'd be something he would definitely do. Yeah. So like those little things are always nice to hear. It's always like warming like my heart or rewarding to hear it just because it's like, yeah, like I see them like that too, like obviously. So, but yeah.
Impactful individuals, no doubt. So family time before we start, outdoors. I like to get outside.
Yeah. I like to read too. It might be, when I was in school, I did not like reading at all. Like if it was for class, I'm like, no, I don't want to read like this many pages or like, but now I'm getting older and I'm like, it's like relaxing to read outside, especially in the summer on the deck in the warm sun or like at night tucked in to bed reading a book and things like that, like
roasting a hot dog and reading a book
roasting, and there's
in
a
the
show
basement
playing.
Welcome to adulthood.
Right, I get tired and I want to go to bed by 8 p.m. now. I'm just like, what kind of thing.
Pretty soon you're gonna get excited about countertops and
little house things here and there, house projects,
new vacuum cleaners, and then you're like, oh boy, how did this happen?
Switch,
So, awesome.
It's very fun.
Are we missing anything? Is there a message? You got a town full of girls with a brand new basketball coach that they may or may not know. You got a message for them or the community at large? Yeah,
I would just say like, I'm thankful for Buffalo and me growing up here. It's been an awesome, awesome community, and I'm so glad that I was able to experience that and want to be able to move back home. I know that many people don't have that same experience with their hometown, and I'm just thankful for Buffalo and the community members that have made it so welcoming back, and to all the young girls out there to start getting a basketball in their hands very, very young. So because women's basketball is on the rise, it is. It's coming up. So, but yeah, also just doing what makes you happy too is my biggest thing, like happiness and happiness, whether that is playing girls basketball or not. But yes,
but probably. 500 shots a day.
500 shots.
Till your hands bleed, and then you
dribble
can be done.
with your left and right, 300 dribbles each, thing like that.
Yeah. Are those numbers that you actually work with? I mean, like what's a shot? I mean, working in the off season.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what's a reasonable amount.
Yeah. No, there's not like a specific. Like I always just tell the girls like get in the gym when you can. For the fall season, we've had like workouts. I gave them sheets of like 50 this, like this, like how many you get out of 20. So you got to make like this amount or things like that. Like make 20. How many attempts did it take you kind of thing
Right.
like that. But
Sure.
there's no realistic number that I
Magic
set
number.
like that. I mean,
Yeah.
I think our booster club has something like that. Like you get this many shots, you get like a gift card, a t-shirt or things like that.
Sure.
So
Cool.
they have that for the younger girls, but for the high school girls, I just kind of give them a little sheet and they just work off of it. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Jordan, thank you for coming in. It was a
Yes.
pleasure to get to know you a little bit
Thank
more,
you.
and congrats on your success. And hopefully continue that with inspiration of these young ladies in the basketball program.
Yes, that's what I hope. Thank
Go
you.
Bison.
Yep, go Bison.
Yes, go Bison.
For the Buffalo Community Podcast, I'm Tyler Reiss.
I'm Mark Benzer.
I'm Jordan Zrust.
Thanks for listening to the Buffalo Community Podcast, produced by Edlund Media. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube, as well as anywhere you listen to podcasts.